All right, hello. Welcome to the tutorial. And I am just giving it a trial run here to see how it goes, how the sound is, etc. So just to show you quickly, these are my references that I picked: a mirrored pool, basalt formations, more pool with lily pads, water features, pots, a pruned Japanese maple, Frank Lloyd Wright architecture, foxglove, which I wound up not using, more of angles of that shot and waterfalls, a cocktail trolley, irises, one of my favorite flowers, more pond water features, and those steps, those stones, stepping stones, really nice. And then here we go to the beginning of that composition. So what I did with this was I thought of where I want my horizon line, my basic composition. I was thinking in terms of about this ratio right here. Uh, and so that's, what I was planning on. Put the horizon in, kind of what's my vanishing point's going to be there and there. And then I just started, like my focal point. I kind of had a concept for what I was. I wanted a mirrored pool here, a waterfall coming down here, and then a kind of a little sheltered area like that. So I started just doodling more and kind of figuring it out. I was going to have a cliff up here with this tree hanging over. I wanted some architectural element in the foreground that sort of mimic that Frank Lloyd Wright style architecture. And I wasn't sure if I was going to put supports in here, just have it fly free, whatever. Um, and then I wanted my patio area to end there. Wanted there to be a view out here. So I had this style of fencing that was actually based on a reference of these being stone pillars and then things in between. I wanted a little kind of river coming through here from this waterfall. That was the idea of that. And then I just put in a grid and drew over that on the same layer, which is a problem. But then, boom, I kind of did a lot all at once. And so, kind of, this is the main feature right here in the center, which is the kind of, these are like basalt cliff sensibility. The basalt are these um, hexagonal uh, rock formations that are stuck together one by one, and they do this thing where they're um, kind of like this, boom, boom. And they have these very distinct sides and they sort of pile against one another, almost like honeycomb, like geologic honeycomb or something like that. And so that is what this stuff is purporting to be. Um, So I wanted that to be my main feature. I'm thinking of expanding the pool down here. I'm starting to work with reflectivity in the water. You can see I'm starting to get into value. I don't want to all just be a line drawing, like I've said earlier. Working with shadows, thinking dynamically about where your light source is coming from, is really important. And now I'm starting to get designing what's going on a little bit more. I'm just making this up as I go, which is what ideally what you do as well. You look at reference, you get ideas, you start composing, and you start refining. And in essence, you're a designer. You're putting something unique together. So I made a clear idea of where this pool, the edge of this pool, was going to be, and makes a semicircle. And I also wanted to be clear that, yes, there's that, where it ends right there. Um, and just the idea of kind of a walkway going this way through here and then going around here through to that. and this all being a pool in here. That was kind of evocative to me. Um, so I did that. And then also kind of working out what's going on in here. There's this overhang area, which will be um, more clearly shown a little bit later. But just kind of, and this is, I'm just, why did I put that there? Well, I felt like this side here needed a little bit of something to contain it a bit. Also helps to focus to looking out there, the view. I kind of want to make a big deal of the clouds, and then some of the landscape coming down there as well. So that was all the reasons for doing that. And now I'm starting to develop, getting into the values, defining things a little bit more. Um, I made a change here with that, pulled it out a little bit more. Notice what really helps us is scale things, kind of saying, well, there's this umbrella thing here and a chair that gives us, we had a sense of scale, but that really gives it a human dimension, gives some purpose to the space. In terms of this, what was this? Where did this idea come from? I looked at those references, but I also went to the Getty Museum in L.A. And the Getty Museum has this beautiful. It's an incredible blend of ancient architecture style and modern sensibilities. Um, and so this kind of had this like broad open area space like that, sort of the blend with the more geometric elements, like this slabs here, and then the more kind of organic elements merging together, and then a really a wonderful view out that way, sort of looking over, kind of a high view. The eye level line is around here, so that is what I'm going for with all of that. And then moving on, I start developing the values more. I'm really pushing out what's going on this upper right hand side. I'm starting to get some more foliage, sense of dripping down. Uh, you'll see that that becomes a theme of me, of this thumbnail. And then pushing the values even more, really getting a sense of these darks, overhangs. Um, one thing I want to communicate, not just in the thumbnails, but as you go towards your large render, the idea is not to just have this airy drawing where there's no sense of value. The idea is to really push values once you have established the forms and what's going on. You can see that I'm starting to push the values in the darks of the water here. That reflective quality, very powerful in water, getting that sort of reflective sensibility. It's straight down. Whenever there's a dark up here, it goes straight down. Um, yeah, when the water's still, you won't see it like that. Notice this kind of feeling here. That is reflecting this whole edifice up here, basically. So uh, that happens, and then what happens here is the light of the sky is coming down. I'm not sure what's. Oh, that's a different layer. Um, but yeah, so here it is for that. Oops. There we are, back again. Notice how I'm giving a sense of the waterfall going on here. Worked up the tree a bit, got clouds happening here. Um, and yeah, this is the final, as far as I've gotten at this point. Um, so, the grid helps a ton. I know that I'm cheating working in Photoshop. It's easier for me to kind of show you the process of doing this, but I really want you to take to heart the idea of clear presentation. I'm clearly trying to pull you in to the, let me get this, I'm trying to pull you in this way, through those devices. This pulls you in this way. This goes like this through here to that. Um, when I work my values more, I'll probably get some more dark in the clouds. Not too much. I want it to be airy, not really heavy and ominous. Um, and I'll definitely work up, like this is going to be an iris plant, so I want that to be fairly sharp. I will work on pulling out these forms in here more, and being right now I'm just making up. I don't even have a plant variety, but I need to be more specific. I don't want to remain just general with it. I want to really get some detail there. This is where the good detail in the foreground allows us to assume that there's these things back here. It's got that same sort of rich detail. So that's what this and this does for you with that. Yeah, so I think that this is coming along as a composition. It's working fairly well. I'd call this not a prototype by any means, but I would call it a fairly good thumbnail. And uh, at this point, I would try to take it beyond just being a, I wouldn't call it an architectural rendering. It kind of is, but just get rid of it from being sort of anonymous. And that means more kind of a bit of more detail. Um, and again, I don't want you to forget about shadows. Uh, Shadows are really important in terms of, look what this is doing for us right here. And what these are especially effective. They're the least cagey. They tell us exactly what's going on. Remember, shadows expand. Well, that's too much, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be more like that. Slight expansion, like that. Um, and then, I want to make more use of this angled shadow. It's a powerful shadow right here. Really do that. And ideally, I want that to be going along with the form of the basalt very clearly. Um, and yeah, so, this is the end of thumbnail phase. Uh, and in terms of whether I can get to it this evening, I'll try to do something that's more about the render. Um, and if not, well, I'll just post up some examples that give you that and type a bunch of words. Okay, thanks for listening.